The Canadian Food Inspection Agency is still threatening Universal Ostrich Farms. I'm Drea Humphrey with Rebel News, and many of you were outraged after seeing what that agency did last year on a rural farm in Edgewood, BC. Our coverage showed you that they slayed hundreds of healthy birds who had caught the flu, the avian flu, a year prior. Now, I'm happy to let you know that our exclusive documentary, which you can find more about and support at cullingthecure.com, has reached its editing phase. But what I'm about to tell you in this report could not wait. It's the fact that the overreach is continuing. And joining me in this report is co-founder Karen Esperson to tell you more on what happened when she went to go clean up the mess that the Canadian Food Inspection Agency left behind. And also following a little bit later in this report, which you won't want to miss, is her niece, Allison Turnbull. That's right, her parents owned the property connected, or I should say beside the farm, not connected, not affiliated with at all. And they have a lawsuit against the Canadian Food Inspection Agency and the RCMP, who collectively spent $7 million at least in tax dollars to go ahead and kill these healthy birds and seize the land. And what Allison here will be telling us is the allegations have gone further above harassment and into allegations that the RCMP has lied on the record. First, you need to know how difficult it was in the first place for Karen to even get near that empty kill pen the CFIA left behind.
It was really hard for the entire family. We would go for walks. We would walk down to the river the opposite direction. We avoided it. I always thought if I put time and distance between the pen, that when I had to go out, it would be green grass. It would be easier to deal with. Nothing makes it easy. It doesn't matter what, but I knew it had to start to be faced, and I knew there was going to be challenges amongst us with this kill pen that they left behind. We never asked for that mess. They left it behind. But nonetheless, we had to face it. So we did go out. It was very emotional for everybody. And it's like we have good days, we have bad days. And now we've just decided, no matter what, for the fact that we have another major hazard, we have live ammunition underneath that hay. So if it starts on fire, there's a whole other problem that we're going to be facing also.
So after Karen actually made it to clean up the CFIA's mess, you won't believe what she found and what she was told after she emailed the CFIA about it.
What had happened is we had reached out, first of all, many attempts to CFIA, asking them to please have a bit of compassion and empathy now after the fact, and at least come clean up their mess, because they left us with no income. They left us with no means to be able to do anything. So all we have is one bobcat here. So I started reaching out. They said, nope, not their problem, that it was our problem. So then I went to Environment Canada, not our jurisdiction. We went to the RCMP, no help there. And I reached out even to the Canadian Armed Forces, never got a return answer. As we're going on through this journey, the temperatures are starting to get warmer, and we were starting to get more concerned. And like we said, it's not only a threat to us now, but this is a threat to our community as well. And we know that there's live ammunition underneath there. So it's quite concerning to us that this gets dealt with immediately also. And so out of those attempts, we decided we can't wait anymore. And we decided to take this on our own. But we went out there for a weekend, and we were told early on that it was either 180 foul days that we had to survive, or we had to clean up their mess and they had to come inspect. Either or happened, we would be out of quarantine. Well, 180 foul days from the time they said they were going to leave and that it started would have put us to May 1st. May 1st came, went. Did I contact him? Absolutely not. I was like, I know if I contact him, we've been harassed so bad, and we know we're done.
Mhm.
So we went on about our business and started to put out, we first had a whole bunch of people say they wanted to come help. And we said that would be amazing. So we put it out there. Tons of people showed up. We started the cleanup through a 2-day process. We realized we didn't even put a dent in everything. So then I went back that evening. Actually, it was after the weekend, the last night of the weekend. One of the supporters was cutting, we were cutting all the twine that was left behind that we couldn't get out of the bales, making it easier for the bobcat cat to come in and clear it away. And one of the supporters came to me and was pretty upset. And she said, Karen, and it's getting easier now that I've talked about it enough, but she said, Karen, I cut open a bale and there's at least 6 inches of blood on the inside.
Oh my gosh.
So to us, it meant obviously these birds not only were brutally killed, but they didn't die easy. And we've said this all along, hearing that they use 22 shells, and now they use 3 different types of ammo. But it was really distraught. It was really depressing to hear that obviously the birds were fighting to get out of the pen and they were wounded. And so the blood went that far in. So it really hit home, and I broke down and I wrote a letter to CFIA and I said, you need to really pull it together and you need to get out here and do something.
Hmm.
Well, their reply was nothing of compassion or empathy. It was 100%, you are still in quarantine. This is enforceable and you can even face prosecution. They said if we were to remove any hay, and anybody or equipment that wants to come onto the property now needed a permit. So now they have to give up all their personal information. They have to have their equipment, everything listed with the CFIA. And everybody that was coming for during the week to actually help us, I had to contact each person. I said, we're trying to get this sorted out. I don't know how we could still be in a quarantine after the way they conducted their quarantine while they were here. And everybody had pets, and everybody said, I'm so sorry, but we will not put our name down for CFIA. We
Yeah,
don't trust them.
no kidding. I just want to pause there for a sec. There's so much wrong with this because, number one, if this was such a biohazard risk to the point that they had to kill your ostriches a year after they caught a flu and spend almost $700 million to do so, why on earth would they even leave such a risk for wild birds to come perch on, as we saw shortly after the massacre? And potentially spread whatever they claimed was there to other farms. The other thing is, you talk about this fire risk, which we know in British Columbia is always a thing. But need I remind the viewers that there were multiple fires on this hay? This hay combusted under the care of the Canadian Food Inspection Agency right under their noses. And now it's just sitting there with potentially live ammo, which we've covered and things like that before. This seems outrageous. So now just tell us, you thought you guys had 180 days. They're saying, no, 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 you're still under quarantine. You still have to suffer. You still can't tend or protect yourself with this part of land. And that mess still has to sit here. What exactly is their excuse for saying such? And you said they threatened you with potential jail time?
They're saying that 180 foul days actually starts at temperatures of +4 and above. And we have to have that many 180 days of +4. So they calculated through NCUSP weather patterns. So they didn't actually check their weather pattern accurately either, because we have total opposite weather of NCUSP.
Hmm.
Our weather pattern comes from Nelson, from the Castlegar area. So they did not look at anything in correspondence to actually the weather pattern, but they said you're at 79 days only, according to our calculation through NCUSP. So we have 100 days still to go, which is all of summer.
Hmm.
So our hay will combust. But in the letter I wrote them, I said, this is now a community hazard as well. So if we have to wait another 100 days, it will combust. And now we potentially are going to set the forest on fire and possibly the farm and possibly the valley. And that's what it's such an overreach. And how they can come back and say that now we have to wait for another 100 days.
As many of you know, the overreach on display at the farm didn't just come from the CFIA. The RCMP also crossed some lines. And the neighbors of Karen, who are also her family, have a lawsuit making serious allegations against the RCMP, including the following.
Well, they seized the property and they had complete control of the entire 28 acres. There's a slight fence line encroachment, and they use that as justification to use the entire 28 acres. They set it up not for biosecurity purposes, but for operational control. They had tactical truck, they had their full operations set up in basically our backyard. So they would circle us 24/7. There would be at least 36 of them on our property at all times. They would make sure that we had to give our ID upon entering. They would, if we ever went in and they didn't notice us right away, like if we were on foot and went through our gate, they would chase us up the driveway with cameras often. They were just constantly harassing us. So in their lawsuit, they stated that although they put high-powered lights shining every which way into our property and down the driveway towards Karen's house, when they found out that my mom had a medical condition that's triggered by light, she has epilepsy, we told them that, and they fought with us that they were not going to turn off those lights, which we have recorded. And then in their lawsuit, they said that when they found that out, that they worked with the family to make sure the lights were turned off when she was approaching. I mean, we have it on camera where they told my mom to just close her eyes or wear sunglasses at night if she didn't like the lights. And I mean, there's lots of stuff in their response to our lawsuit that's just absolutely false, that we have proof that it's false. I was just really shocked that they would outright lie in their response in court record about what happened.
Well, that seems outrageous. And of course, you can't tell me what they're thinking when they're doing it, this federal run RCMP agency. But what is your guess as to why they would lie on record if you have the proof?
I honestly think that they just believed that everything that we have that we recorded when this was happening is already out there. They already thought that. I think they didn't realize that we didn't publish a lot of video, that evidence that we have. I think they just are used to lying and they thought they would get away with it. But we have video of everything that we put in our lawsuit. We made sure that I didn't put anything in there that I don't have proof of. And I think they just didn't realize, they just thought that we published everything.
I think Allison is absolutely right. Karen and her supporters had a saying, the world is watching. And in many cases they were. But the truth is, so much of what was uncovered on that farm couldn't actually make it to the public, even though we live streamed and showed you so many reports, over 100. That's why I'm so proud of what is coming at cullingthecure.com in that documentary. But it seems the CFIA is still hell-bent on pushing nonsensical policies that are harming the well-being and livelihoods of farmers like Karen.
And this is just a punishment to show the world, you know what? If you stand up, guess what? This will happen to you too. So they're trying to break us in every which way. But they messed with the wrong family. They found out we are one tight, tough family, and we're not backing down.
You can find out more about the farm's ongoing plight at justicefortheostriches.com. And also, they invite you to their reunion that's coming up this August, which you can find out about there too, going to camp there with what's left of the farm. Drea Humphrey for Rebel News. At Rebel News, we bring you the other side of the story, and we are going to do that in a big way with this film. Not only did we investigate and are going to bring you unseen footage and more, We also hired a lawyer to help us really get through the nitty-gritty of what lines have or have not been crossed. If you want to be a part of supporting our efforts to do this important documentary and bring it to light, please donate what you can at cullingthecure.com.